Okay, we're back. So we've gone ahead and done a couple of things. I just want to run you through it. We have set our plywood in our bag, glued it, screwed it. We have put down our mesh over the top of the plywood. We are going to set the pan in a mortar bed. And the pan, as you remember, I held back a couple of inches from the wall. The manufacturer recommends that if the pan is going to go tight to the wall, that's great. And if it's not going to go tight to the wall, they want to see at least 3 inches away from the wall, that we're going to fill that with a mortar and slope that from our wall down to our pan. Now, we were talking about modifying the pan, and there was just a couple of things that I wanted to show you before I set this. So, the drain itself, not being in the center, I cut this pan to suit what I wanted this to be in the opening. By doing that, I eliminated any of the pre-drilled holes that the pan already had in it. So what I did was, I cut the pan to fit the opening with the spacing on the back and the both sides. After I cut the pan, I turn the pan around and I find the closest crisscross and drill an 1/8 inch hole through every one. Then I go on the top side and I countersink the top side so that the screw will set into the pan flush. And I do that just to mimic what the manufacturer sends us, and here's their hole that they send us. So they're assuming that the pan that we use is going to cover the entire shower. In most cases it doesn't. So this is a good way that you can modify it and still be within the limits of the pan itself. So going back to what I said about the 7/8 of an inch being the distance that we want up above our subfloor, we need to find a way that we can keep the pan level and still keep it 7/8 of an inch above the subfloor. The closer you cut the pan to the drain, the less the ribs are. So I'll show you here. As you see, if you can see the back of the pan here, you can see with the naturally built slope here, it starts out at 7/8 and it comes all the way down to maybe 3/16 of an inch. So for every section that I cut, it's getting smaller and smaller. The ultimate, what we want is we want 7/8 of an inch continuous all around the outside of the shower. So what I do is I take the cutoff from the original pan that I know is 7/8 of an inch thick. I put that up against the wall, and you can see that I have my 1/8 of an inch here. I put a level on the top of the cutoff, and I scribe a line all around the shower. I do that on the 2 sides, and I do it on the back. Now what I noticed was that on this side, I had a real low spot, so I went ahead and I put a couple of shims in here to help just bring that up so I didn't have this big giant pile of mortar that I'm trying to sit the pan in. So now that we're at this point, we're ready to fill this with mortar. We make this nice and thick on the outside, and we taper it down in towards the drain. One more thing is on the drain, we want to be prepared if you don't have accessibility to the bottom of the drain where you can get at it from an access panel or so on, which is in most cases. The manufacturer wants you to be 1 1/4 inches from the top of the cup. So if you dry fit your pan inside the opening without gluing your drain riser, you can make a mark on the pipe itself, so you're 1 1/4 down. So I've already went ahead and done that, cut the pipe, glued it, and I'm ready to go.